Um, there's a situation that happened tonight with Mr. Foshess. I'm gonna bring up some situations. I'm also gonna play a recording for you. Cynthia, first of all, Cynthia is his wife. She's been very kind to me, and I know 100% beyond any shadow of a doubt that if she sees me, she is not going to try to hurt me because she has never, ever tried to hurt me. Not even once. John, the issue here, and I'll go over this while I play the video too, and I'll post up a link to the video unedited. It's start to stop, start to finish. Between little bits and pieces and the entire thing, watching the entire video allows you more of an understanding. Mind you, it takes a minute to even get my recording started, and a lot can happen in that time. Now let's talk about the procedures for the police. What do if I call them? They talk in circles. When it comes to the video evidence, if I don't record it, they pretend that it's a delusion. If I start recording as soon as something happens, they say, oh, well, we can't do anything about it because, well, you didn't record how it started. So then I have to record all the time. I never know when one of these people is going to pull this stuff, but I can't possibly record all the time because it takes a lot of memory, and the memory sticks are friggin' expensive. Let me show you here how many memory sticks I have. There's a lot. I have a whole container full of them. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's a lot. I'll try to hold them up so you can see them. A whole bunch of them. And I got 2 more right over there. As soon as I put these back in their container, I'll show them to you as well. Ever since the death of Natalie Bollinger, I've had a much bigger influx of people threatening to kill me and my friends and family. Now, I gotta try to get a protection order against the Bollinger family and the people who are involved in that, because they haven't stopped. Now, whether or not it's the actual Bollingers themselves, or their extended friends and family, or these internet nut jobs, it all stems from the same place, the same lies, the same slander, the same rumors that I'm not allowed to show actual evidence of. There's also the situation of people believing that a crime is okay to commit against a disabled person, or that certain people deserve to have those crimes committed against them without trial. Now, I'm trying to turn in that I'm being harmed over things that never happened and I've never been charged with, and I'm treated like it's a schizophrenic delusion. Meanwhile, you guys have gotten to see plenty of evidence these definitely and decidedly are not delusions. So the guy in the video, he's fine with being recorded. He just straight up doesn't care. He's highly opinionated, but he's one of those guys who's like, I said what I said. You know, if there's something I don't want recorded, I'll tell you I don't want it recorded. And we both agree that we don't have that kind of relationship anyway. he was walking with me because he wanted a cigarette. So I bought a pack of cigarettes and I gave him a couple. And as we were walking back, what happened is that Mr. Foshess, who has assaulted me and threatened to kill me and tried to run me over with his Chevy pickup truck, well, the situation was that he used to be friends with Andrew Wolnez until Andrew Wolnez just wouldn't leave me alone. And so Mr. Foshess's wife, Cynthia, was trying to be nice about it and tried to intercede on my behalf and asked Wolnez to leave me alone. Well, the next time I saw him, he was screaming profanities and throwing rocks at my car. So, I mean, it didn't last very long. So, John stopped being friends with Andrew. But the situation with Andrew pushing this, he's a murderer, he's a rapist, and so on and so forth, that's a really screwed up situation. And then the situation at Safeway. Like, I still don't understand that whole situation. I don't. Like, what is so simple about when I'm being abused, and I've literally had to record it, what's so difficult about understanding we need to turn it in right away together? So we got three groups of people that are considered vulnerable in America: children, the elderly, and the disabled. And of those three, the most likely person to be victimized is the disabled, especially the quote unquote mentally disabled. Because all somebody has to do is say mentally ill, and people already automatically question everything that you say. It must be a lie, or might be a lie, or a delusion. And they can't believe anything that you say because they're not sure, because you're quote unquote mentally ill or have been accused of being quote unquote mentally ill. Tough, right? One of the things that the mandatory reporters do is try to antagonize the situation when you're trying to turn in abuse, because they don't want the hassle. They want you to say that you want to harm yourself or somebody else so they can have you institutionalized, because, well, you can ask them how much money and how many jobs it pays for. Your tax is paying for that, by the way. So, there's been multiple occasions since all of this started where I've seen Cynthia. She is not talking to me. I'm fine with that. You know what else she's not doing? She's not threatening to kill me. She's not punching me while I'm at the ATM in friggin' Shell Station. She's not trying to hit me with her pickup truck. When he's in the vehicle with her, he behaves. When he drives by, he doesn't honk his horn. He doesn't scream the F word out the window at me. Or at the property now, because I'm not visible to him. Or over rev his vehicle. So, the situation tonight, the way that he came up, I was afraid that he was going to harm me. The guy who was with me, his name is Brian, and apparently they're friends, which is fine. But this situation started with the implant in this guy's brain from Andrew Wolnez, claiming that I'm a murderer and a rapist and a pedophile and all this other shit. So, I've tried to turn this in. But of course, when I tried to turn in the abuse by Foshess, and of course there was John Stevens, and like 6 people all assaulted me within like a week's time. 2 of them back to back. I mean, John Stevens assaulted me twice within like a 5-minute period. When I told him I was going to turn it in, he said, oh, grabbed his nuts and said, like, you didn't try to grab my balls? Come on, dude. Like, seriously, this is what predators do. They harm me, and then they make false accusations, and I'm not hurt. I'm just considered mentally ill. And the thing tonight, showing all of it, may not necessarily help your belief in that, but I'm fine with that. And the reason for it is safety in numbers. As I was crossing the street to come to where I'm at now, almost to the house, well, the guy that I was walking with is wearing very dark clothes and has a very, very, very black dog. It's hard to see him. And John Foshess was driving down 4th Street, I believe is what it is. He was going from east to west. And when I saw him, I started hobbling extra fast. I was still on the road. I didn't want him to try to hit me with his vehicle again. I heard some very loud voices in the vehicle, and he pulled up literally right across the street from here. Okay, obviously that's going to set off red flags. So I was talking to Brian at the time, and we were talking about how useless care is and how basically it's a racket. They help the police to do whatever they want, and the police basically use their position of power to lock up anybody that tells on them. Simple. So we're gonna start playing this video. I'm gonna take the headphones off and actually hold them next to the speaker on the telephone, and that way you can hear everything that Brian says. And we will, of course, this is a video breakdown, so I'm going to break down the video for you. We're also going to discuss a little bit about TFCC and care and all that, possibly. The thing is, tonight there was no assault, but also, he didn't see Brian when he was pulling up, but when he did notice Brian, because he had his window down, and me and Brian were talking, and I was talking very loud, and Brian was talking very loud. So he realized there was somebody else there, and he did leave. And I didn't point the camera at him, I just started it up. You know, I could easily turn it around and point at him, but, you know, my fingers are trembling at this point, and, you know, I don't want to risk messing with the buttons too much and ending up with a situation where it's going to take 5 minutes to start the recording. Also, at that point, I didn't know if Brian was going to walk off or not, so I was starting to head. We'll press play and I'll break it down at that point. And I'll have to stop it a lot during the first minute because a lot happens in the first minute. By the time I started recording, it was when John had pulled up, and that's when I started trying to start the recording. And then he backed up, and his vehicle was like catty corner in the middle of the street, pointed with the lights right at me. So I lifted up my phone, even though it was pointed at me. I lifted it up. He was pulling around the back. It still hadn't started recording by that point, and he pulled back and then pulled around super slow. It was creepy as hell. But that's about the time that I was able to get it started, was while he was backed up and parked, his lights on. It was scary for a reason. Obviously, the previous history is what makes it scary. But I have to be afraid to turn it in to the cops. I have to be afraid to call 911. Let's break down this video. Turn the volume all the way up. And let me start it. Well, I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with him being schizophrenic. I don't know. Now this part, that's Brian you hear in the background. And he's saying, and you'll probably be able to hear it if you pause it and go back and increase your volume a little bit. He's saying it's out of character. Well, it might be out of character. Let me tell you about a guy named Doug Cowden. I was never afraid of Doug Cowden trying to sexually abuse me. Okay? Turned out that he was a child molester. but he was into little girls, not little boys. The thing is that Mr. Foshess has decided that it's okay to be predatory towards me. He's got this thing in his brain where he thinks that I'm after his wife and his daughter. No, I'm not. I'm not interested in your wife or your daughter. All right? This is a situation where I have a lot of respect for his wife and his daughter. I'm not happy about the decisions that some of them made. I'm not happy about some of the things that their friends have done to me. And, I'm not happy about some of the situations that resulted from that with them in specific, but they're not bad people. They're absolutely not. And the best possible outcome in this is for somebody to take the situation seriously. If he's going to continue doing this stuff and nobody's going to help to put a stop to it, then absolutely I want to press charges against him for trying to run me over and for assaulting me, which is what I was trying to do before I got arrested, by the way. So here is where I don't know if Brian is going to stand there and, help protect me in this situation or if he's just going to walk off. So I start walking off and I say, I don't care. I start walking to the front porch here to see if the people inside might possibly be able to shelter me. But Brian sticks around and he says to me that that nobody's going to do anything because he's there. And safety in numbers. This is one of the things I've been saying since before Natalie was killed is safety in numbers. People are less likely to victimize you when there's more than one of you. People are more likely to victimize you when either A, they have overwhelming support, or B, you are completely alone. This is what I have to be afraid of, is that one of these predators who believes the lies is actually going to kill me or one of my friends or family members. This is not okay that it's being ignored, especially since there's already people who are dead over it. Now let's continue. We're only 7 seconds into the video. He's assaulted me and tried to run me over with that truck right there. He's still there at that point. Yeah, it is a big deal. I don't care. See, he says it's not in his character, and I say I don't care. That's where I'm walking away. Definitely. You're right. I'm hoping. And he's saying, seriously, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen because I'm here. And he's right for the most part, but Mr. Foshess, I'm sure, assessed the situation of whether or not something was or was not going to happen, and he was definitely within earshot of me and Brian when Brian said that. Like I said, his window was down. I was getting ready to walk to the front door over there. Alright, so the situation with Andrew Walnes, he's one of Andrew Walnes' friends. No, that's this we already went over. Because of the situation with his wife being pissed off about the abuse from Andrew Walnes. He was running around telling people I was a child molester and a rapist and a murderer. He keeps on doing that. Right there, we're gonna play that again. And I made sure that I put a spot in here so anybody can listen to it. Hopefully this is working all right. Oh, come on. Well, the abuse from Andrew Walnes. He was running around telling people I was a child molester and a rapist and a murderer. He keeps on doing that. See, he said, yeah, I remember that. The abuse from Andrew Walnes. He was running around telling people I was a child molester and a rapist and a murderer. He keeps on doing that. So you're not the only person who remembers that, but nobody will turn it in with me. I told the private investigator. Right on. The private investigator. All right, so I need to go into how horribly I was treated by the public pretenders and by the first judge. We were able to get a different judge. Her name was Amanda Benjamin, and she was definitely a good judge in my opinion. You know, my attorney didn't prepare, and neither did the DA's office. The DA had to basically just make fun of me the whole time, crack jokes, and try to insinuate that I was schizophrenic the whole time. He wanted to claim that there was only over 90 situations where I tried to turn in abuse from predators. And he was trying to use that to insinuate that I just basically make this shit up. Well, you get to see the videos of people assaulting me and threatening to kill me and calling me a child molester and a rapist and a murderer. Not just Andrew Wolnez. All the people that he ran around to and told this stuff to. I have to worry about them harming me. I have to worry about them not trying to hear my side. The courts don't bother to hear my side because of the mentally ill shit. The police don't listen to my side because of the assault by Officer Waylon Lolatai. I mean, there's a lot involved here. Oh, yeah, I'm trying to remember her name. She was the only person through all of that who even bothered to try pretending she was going to do her job. Like, everybody else was completely fucking useless. No, I was saying after he came out and talked to me. And just at that time, Andrew rode by on his bike and called me a fucking faggot. Yes, and she told me about that. I was like, that's a hate crime, you know? What's freedom? Now, we're going to pause that. I don't like that word. I'm not okay with it, and I don't use it. Now, he's going to talk about how it's freedom of speech, and he's also going to go through the things that would make it a hate crime. When these people are screaming these things at me, they're not just screaming them at me. They're throwing things at me, or threatening to kill my friends and family, or threatening to kill me. If it's not this F word thing, then it's them calling me gay, or calling me a pedophile, calling me a rapist or a murderer. These things aren't okay. Speech, he can say what he wants. Well, I guess as long as he doesn't beat you up, right? As long as he's touching me or hurt me. Right. The thing is, he does this to so many people, and I do legit have to be afraid for my life. Like, people in jail even were telling me, dude, he's got a slingshot and some fishing weights with your name on it. I haven't. Well, a lot of people have said that. The thing is, Cynthia talked to him. Mr. Foshess, the guy who's messing with me, talked to him. Now, mind you, Foshess didn't mess with me this time. He didn't say a word to me. He didn't scream anything at me. He didn't get out of his vehicle and pull any crap. So, of course, I've been right through this situation all along, safety in numbers. But also, Brian was making that point as well, safety in numbers. There's a permanent protection order. His friends have been messing with me over it. Now, Foshess, he's got this thing in his head that I'm after his wife and his daughter. No, his wife and his daughter were helping me. The problem is that they didn't understand the situation, and there was a lot of fucked up shit that happened. And also, I wanted to mention there's a permanent protection order in place with Andrew Wolnez. No, do not contact Andrew Wolnez about me. That is not okay. Don't go talking to my predators. I'm having enough issues with their extended friends and family doing this stuff to me as well. People like, of course, Scott Brown. So when I go to try to turn in the fact that these people are threatening my life over Andrew Wolnez, I don't want them going, oh, well, he's sending people to come harass me. The fuck I am. I'm asking people not to. And I had to literally put their numbers up on the internet in the hopes that somebody would pick it up and talk to them and say, hey, could you fucking help this guy out? Now, he assaulted me down at Shell Station. I tried to turn it in. Nobody would do anything about it. He's one of those people who keeps calling me the F word before he does it. Now, that's the only time that he's assaulted me anywhere that there was a camera. When he tried to run me over, you know Israel, right? Yeah. Works at Shell Station. Well, I get to hear his opinion of that particular employee. Well, this is another situation where we have a difference of opinion. I like that employee. He's direct. He's not mean to me. He's direct, and I am totally okay with that. It's people who BS that drives me nuts. Now, through most of this, I listened to Brian talk up until the point that I saw foshess. Brian is very opinionated, and he likes to share his opinions. So I'm basically a springboard for him to bounce ideas off of, or therapist to listen to his woes. Well, I asked him if there was a camera out there. He said, no, there isn't. So, like, I can't even turn it in when he tried to run me over. Oh, but there's cameras in the intersection. Now, mind you, I did try to turn it in. And one of the things that I brought up, and thank goodness my lawyer sort of brought it up, never brought it up in court though, is that the police officers didn't bother to collect any of the cameras that they should have. They ignored them until places like Safeway that have cameras destroyed the cameras. They destroy their cameras after 6 months. If the police are able to prevent you from turning in their abuse for a year, they get to destroy the evidence of that abuse. So they're heavily invested in running you around in circles. And the people at all the services that are going to send you to are also people who are fine with just sending you around in circles. They're making a profit. Who cares, right? Yeah, and of course, what happens when I call 911? The police talk at me like I'm retarded, tell me I need to go to TFCC or CARE. But yeah, since 2022. Or they arrest me for improper use of 911 because I called them about people assaulting me and threatening my life, or vandalizing my vehicle, or whatever else it is these people want to do. It's not just one person. It's a group of people who are working together and are coordinated. It's not just Chris Stafford. It's Chris Stafford and his friends. It's not just Andrew Wolnez. It's Andrew Wolnez and his friends. This situation, you know, because somebody was there, there was a witness. Because there was a witness, this guy decided not to commit a crime against me. If there had been no witness, he probably wouldn't have given me time to actually pull out my phone. That's been what I've been having to go through. I'm not a local. Yeah. Like, you've gotten to see at least part of what they did to my car. A lot of people have taken part in this abuse. You know, folks just saw me. He pulled over literally right there. Help the fact that people tell me that you broadcast personal things. People tell me that you broadcast personal things. Well, that depends on what you consider personal. If you are committing crimes against me, none of your stuff gets to be personal. When you're committing crimes against an elderly person, a disabled person, or a child, nothing gets to be personal. When it comes to mandatory reporters, they're supposed to be mandatory reporters because some people, some victims, their predators are their family, or they have no family to go to. So, let's say your 9-year-old daughter was raped at school. You need to go at this as a mandatory reporter or as a friend or family member, as if your elderly friend or family member or your disabled friend or family member is that 9-year-old girl. When we are abused, we need you to take it seriously right now. Otherwise, we get treated like it's our fault that we were victimized repeatedly because we didn't turn it in right away, even if we did try to turn it in right away. And that's something I've been trying to explain from the very start. A lot of people have opinions. Well, that's great. And a lot of people like to generalize. Well, that sucks. I want to generalize that, oh, he's a homeless person, so he's probably a drug addict. Oh, he's a homeless person, so he's probably mentally ill. You've already assumed these things about me. You're obviously not going to listen. Let's play a little bit more. I broadcast the abuse. I have to be afraid of. Now that's exactly it. Is it really your personal business? If you were a witness to a crime against a disabled person, and you are telling that disabled person that you're afraid to turn it in because people are threatening your kids, I get that that's personal business to some degree. But when you're telling me that people are threatening to kill your friends and family over this situation with Natalie Bollinger, absolutely that has something to do with it. No, that's not your personal business. If you try to run me over with your vehicle, that's not your personal business. If you assault me, that's not your personal business. The moment you start victimizing me, I'm going to start recording. And many of these people who victimized me are angry that their personal business of victimizing me was recorded and put on the internet. In these situations, in all of these situations, if these people had done the morally right thing or the legally correct thing, we wouldn't still be going through this. If somebody rapes your 9-year-old daughter, should people procrastinate to the point with turning it in that she literally has to post up repeated instances, literally record the people doing these things to her and post it up on YouTube and Facebook? Is that what she should have to do? No, absolutely she shouldn't have to do that. Then there's the two wrongs don't make a right thing. With all these people threatening to kill my friends and family, let's consider the situation. Two wrongs don't make a right. That's what you want to say, correct? Let's say somebody breaks into your house with a firearm and starts shooting your family. That person shoots your wife and is now going after your children. So you pull out your firearm and you shoot that person to stop them from killing the rest of your family. Yes, you took a life, but you saved several more. Were you wrong to protect your family? If you screamed or cursed in that situation, does that justify that person breaking into your house and shooting your family? No, it doesn't. And here's the situation I'm having to deal with. I'm dealing with the fact that when I'm victimized, if I scream or shout, which is the only thing that they hear, they ignore anything where I'm speaking rationally. They blow me off over and over and over again until I have a mental breakdown from being abused. The abuse, and that's what I record. I record when you put it out there like that, you're gonna create. No. If you put it out there like that, you're gonna create it. No, that's victim blaming. This is one of his highly opinionated things. He'll generalize that it's a victim's fault that they were victimized. He says there's a difference between being victimized and shit, I can't remember the other word that we were using. But he's highly opinionated, and you basically just listen to his opinions if you're trying to have a conversation with him. So Yeah, he's got opinions. Does that make them right? Does that make them correct? No, it doesn't. Saying if you put it out there, you mean if you are raped and you speak up about the rape, you deserve to be raped? No, that's not okay. Rape is never okay. There is not one single instance where that's okay. But any other crime you want to ignore, which means that the only crimes that you're not ignoring are basically what they call women's crimes. And by the way, there are 29 million men in America who were victims of sexual abuse before they turned 18, statistically. No. If somebody assaults me and I record the fact that they are assaulting me, it's not my fault that they assaulted me, and I'm doing the right thing by showing the fact that they assaulted me and going public with it, because going to the police gets me talking in circles. No, that's what the cops are working now. Yeah, I've heard that. Maybe they are. But that's kind of like saying things could be worse. That's a terrible analogy. Like here in America, if somebody sexually assaults you, it is not okay to say, oh, well, you should just forget about it. You should let it go. It's in the past. If you were in Africa, they might have chopped you up and put you in some tires and lit them on fire. So you shouldn't complain. No. Things are worse elsewhere. It's not an okay excuse to ignore these situations. Oh, they're not as much of a victim as somebody in another country. That's not okay. Frequent and ongoing abuse. It's not in the past at that point. It's still ongoing. The foshess situation is still ongoing. The Wolnez situation is still ongoing. He still violates the protection order. I still can't go to the police about the situation. I've repeatedly gone to the place at CARE. Repeatedly. Okay? The day that foshess tried to run me over with his vehicle. Yes, I absolutely went to CARE to try to turn it in and told the staff there about it. They wanted to set me up for an appointment. And at that appointment, what was it? Probably housing. Probably talking about housing. Not actually doing anything to work on the housing thing, just talking about it. How's that helping? And I've also heard it the other way around, but I haven't lived here my whole life. It's still the good old boy system with CARE and those other places. I'm sure not like that. That KKK stuff is bad. When I write the word Tillamook, I put 3 K's at the end. Yeah, it's because this is a KKK town, and I look too Jewish for them to really see me as a human being in many cases. Okay, so I'm going there for immersion classes, right? Well, I have 6 months to get a year-done program. I do it 3 times a week, 3 times a day. Oh, that's personal stuff. I had to start recording because it kept pulling up. Like, if I don't record the assault, thank goodness there was no assault, and I'm glad that you were here, thank goodness. There was no assault. No. You were here talking with me. See, right there, we established that there was no assault. And of course, like he was saying, and like I said, probably because he was there. So you can talk to me. Like, I'm just gonna walk over to the front porch there and knock on the door and say, hey. Yes, brutally honest. Like I said, I was afraid he was gonna walk off. Well, I didn't hide that from him either. Guys assaulted me, threatened to kill me, and tried to run me over with his truck, and now he's parking outside. Usually he drives by and screams at me. The thing is, he doesn't do any of this stuff when his wife's in the vehicle. She's not going to stand for him acting like a child. He doesn't want anything happening to affect him that way. And see, I hadn't seen him act like that until the situation happened over there. Yeah, I do want to bring up the fact that his wife asked him to help me, and he did. He helped me push my vehicle and get it moved to somewhere else. He did a bit of damage, but I was glad to have it moved, and with the number of times and occasions that Andrew Walnes had kicked in the vehicle, nobody was going to notice that one issue. It was survivable. And yeah, it was a situation where there was no problem with the guy. He was super nice. Well, sort of. When his wife wasn't there, he was a dick. You know, he was still a dick when his wife wasn't there. There were several times over at the can machine, because, like I said, he was friends with Andrew Walnes. A lot of the drug addicts change in cans so that they can purchase more drugs. I turn in cans so that I can purchase more food. But, of course, if I go there and there's drug addicts standing around, I don't know who all's a drug addict and who isn't at the beginning. I'm just there to turn in cans. Their personal business is their personal business. But John had on multiple occasions yelled inappropriate stuff at me, things that were very threatening, and, well, it's a situation that literally started over the Andrew Walnes situation, which is an excuse to harm me over the Natalie Bollinger situation, which they want to pretend is a delusion. When I say they, I'm talking about the police, I'm talking about CARE, I'm talking about TFCC. Even now that people there have seen evidence that these things are not delusions, they've shuffled around the people who have seen that evidence. A lot of those people who saw that evidence no longer work at these places. The ones who have seen it recently, well, they've been shuffled around so that I'm working with a different person. So I have to start over from scratch with somebody who's going out of their way to ignore it. Now, one of the things with Miss Shelley is that she types that she wants to see me in an apartment and that she's trying to get me in contact with the person that I need to be in contact with to get the help that I need. Well, we've been working on that since 2022. It is now 2025. The assaults keep happening. We haven't gotten housing. We haven't gotten in contact with the right person. I'm still taking the abuse, and I'm still being treated like I'm schizophrenic, despite the fact that I have multiple psychological evaluations from forensic psychologists showing I am not schizophrenic, that I am not delusional, and in all three of those cases, they literally wrote down that the Natalie Bollinger situation was true. It was not a delusion. Now, what did all of the cases prior to this lean on heavily? Insinuating that I was schizophrenic and or delusional by calling me mentally ill, thereby taking away my access to the evidence and my ability to turn in the evidence and making it their word versus mine. If I've got a video on my phone of somebody assaulting me and the cops arrest me and take my phone, and they tell the psychologist that I'm delusional and making it up, it's their word versus mine, and they have a badge, so it's not their word versus mine, it's just their word. Anything that I say that's different from what the police say is assumed to be a lie or a delusion. Now, it's the same thing if they take you in on suicide watch. They take away your telephone and you have to talk to this assessor, and this assessor is not going to allow you to get your phone to show you what's on there. If what you say is different from what the officer says, or the ambulance, whoever it is that brought you in, if your words are different than theirs, then you are assumed to be a liar. You're assumed to be delusional and or schizophrenic. You don't have access to the evidence to show them. If you don't say anything, then that is used to harm you as well. If you don't say anything, because you've been accused of being mentally ill, you don't get the Fifth Amendment. They get to harm you if you take the Fifth Amendment. And if you tell them the truth, they get to harm you by pretending that you're schizophrenic and not looking it up. Anybody through any of this could have looked up Natalie Bollinger. But the thing is, most of these police officers and mental health workers knew that the Natalie Bollinger situation was not a schizophrenic delusion. But they continued to try to pretend that it was, because they'd committed crimes, and it is to their benefit to pretend that I am schizophrenic and or delusional to prevent my words and evidence from being seen by the courts, by the public. That's why I post publicly. When I have to try to turn in a predator, I post up here on YouTube or on my Facebook when I have access to it. I post up my intention to turn these people in, and you get to see how many times I end up being arrested for trying to turn in abuse, being threatened and harassed and intimidated by the very people I'm supposed to turn it into. They know that I have PTSD, and they prey on that. They know enough to antagonize me. So when they say that they don't know anything about it, well, if you know enough about somebody's disability to prey on their disabilities, then you know enough about their disabilities to commit crimes against them, and that's exactly what you're doing. Safe way when everybody was breaking my windows. I still don't know what all that was about. I still don't know who broke my windows. I don't want to record and post anything on YouTube. I shouldn't have to. I'm a disabled person who's being victimized. I should be able to turn this in without fear of being retaliated against. You're right. Yeah, that's just idle talking, though. We don't live in an ideal world. I don't give a shit. If somebody's raping a child, are you going to say, oh, we don't live in an ideal world? If somebody's raping a child, are you going to say a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush? If a child is being raped, are you going to tell them they just need to love themselves, or you'll get around to doing something about it eventually? You'll make time, but you never do. No, you need to turn that in immediately. Or the predators get to continue harming the victim until the victim has a mental breakdown, and then the victim is prevented from showing the truth. I'm also going to post up in the comment section some links to resources for victims of rape and sexual assault, people who have PTSD. This is stuff from psychiatrists and psychologists about the sciences behind it, the stuff that everybody wants to ignore. The fact that a PTSD response to being abused is used to pretend that victims are schizophrenic and or delusional. They're talked over and disrespected. We'll continue here. You'll also get to hear why it is that I'm going to post those things, because victim blaming is not okay either. That's never going to happen. A lot of people say, in the past. No. These things that have happened to me, for example, affect me in every single court date. Prevent me from being able to go to the police without being afraid that they will retaliate against me for trying to turn it in or blow me off. They can retaliate by lying, by arresting me, by taking away my evidence and destroying it or not returning it, which there's a lot of stuff they didn't return. Don't live in the past. And see, after all that, he does agree. After all that, his generalization, the specifics of the situation, well, he agrees with me. That means the things that he was saying obviously don't apply to my situation. You can generalize, but when you know the reality of the situation, it's far different. One of those disabled people that I try to help turn in the crimes against. I try to turn in the crimes committed against me. Town for 6 non-child molesters and somebody who tried to rape Stormy and some other stuff. Now you hear that? That's a horrible thing to say, first of all. And second of all, it wasn't just somebody who tried to rape Stormy, and I can't remember if Stormy said that he did or if he just tried. But then there's also the situation with the guy across the street who's trying to molest her, is the word I should use. That's the kindest way to say it. By the way, that guy is the one who came at me with the pole, not once, but twice. He also apologized to me after I got out of jail. He told me that he told the DA that he didn't want to press charges, that he wanted them to drop the charges. He also told me, and this basically is an excuse, but he told me it was because he was drunk, because he was drinking a lot, and he's trying to do something about it. Well, I hope so. I hope the best for the man. I hope that he's sober, and I hope that he's not hurting people. I hope that he's not trying to do those things to women anymore. But I also recorded that and put it on YouTube, and I get treated like I'm a bad person for doing that. No, 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 no. I shouldn't have had to post it on YouTube. That's the reality of it. These mandatory reporters want to push just housing instead, or try to push the mentally ill thing, or try to push me to say something that they can use to pretend that I'm trying to commit suicide. That's not okay.
So that's a horrible thing. That's the truth. I know her pretty well.
No, it's not the truth. She can be. And it's not okay to treat her like she couldn't be. You know her very well? I was there when Mossam was trying to do that shit to her, okay? I was there. It's recorded. You know what else is recorded? That man repeatedly threatening to kill me, kicking in his back door because he was drunk, throwing shit at me that could have killed me. So, yeah, you can have an opinion, but your opinion doesn't fit the facts.
It is true. Well, if it helps, I heard her say no. Can I light her again? Like, I'm gonna turn this off because it's obviously gone.
Reality. Now, of course, let's take a look at the screensaver that's on it. It's threats against my little sister and my niece. So let's try to take this seriously, please. That brings me to another point. Oh, come on. Obviously, I've shown enough evidence to show that these things are happening. How many of these threats do I have to post up? Do I have to post up hundreds of them? Thousands of them? I've already posted up that many. I've posted up thousands of screenshots of the threats, harassment, intimidation, and vandalism. Video after video of these things. Meanwhile, after all these years here in Tillamook, we still haven't gotten an advocate to help stop this abuse. Instead, I'm sent to my predators for them to do it all over again. I'm sent to the people that care for them to destroy evidence of their wrongdoing and then go right back to ignoring the abuse. I've gone to them for at least 5 physical assaults since I was released from jail. And every single one of those situations, they said they would set up an appointment with Russell or they would set up an appointment with Shelley, and Shelley just simply doesn't show up most of the time. This is an hour long. I'm sorry it's so long, but it's necessary.